Hello, this is Les Blythe from Internet Marketing Squared, unleashing the Internet Marketer in you. In this short video, I'd like to take a look at traffic and give you a basic introduction to the subject. And when we talk about traffic, basically how I like to think of it is being eyeballs on your offer. In other words, you have an offer, be it a free offer, be it a paid for offer, and you're driving eyeballs to that offer to look at what you've got to offer and hopefully converting them to a customer or a prospect on your list. Now, there's a general misconception about traffic in that there is free traffic and paid for traffic. The misconception really arises from the fact that there is not really anything such as free traffic. If you drive traffic through SEO, for example, search engine optimization, in other words, perhaps getting a website ranked on Google and getting organic traffic from the search engines, the actual work involved in doing that is quite immense. So in terms of your time, you're actually putting a very high cost on that, and it's not free at all in that respect. Something like paid traffic, for example, would be solo ads, where you pay someone to send your offer to their list. You pay them so much per click on your offer, which then gets sent emailed to their list, and then hopefully you convert them to a prospect or a customer. Also bear in mind that not all traffic is created equally. A list of buyers, for example, is generally accepted to be 10 times more valuable than a list of freebie seekers. So in other words, people who are just signing up to your list to get a free offer are quite often not the best traffic or the best subscribers to have on that list. Having said that, they can be converted to paying customers. There's a bit of a process involved in doing it, but yes, it can be done. However, generally speaking, we consider that buyers have a value far in excess of that of a freebie seeker, something the order of 10 times the value. It's quite difficult to talk about the basics of traffic without just touching on a sales funnel and what a sales funnel is. Now, a sales funnel will basically consist of a squeeze page. The sole purpose of a squeeze page is to force your or convince your prospect to take a particular action. So in the case of what we're talking about here, the action we want them to take is to give you their email address. That would normally be in exchange for a free gift. That might be an ebook, it might be a piece of software, it might be a plugin, whatever it might be, but basically giving them something for free. Now, once they've opted in and given you their email, then is the time to make them a one-time offer. As the name suggests, it's an offer that they're offered and presumably they're going to see once. It's a paid offer. You've already got their email address, so now's the time to see if you can make a sale. It's quite important to try and make this sale early on in the process. That's a particularly good time to capitalize once you have their initial interest. Now again, a big mistake I see people make, and let's make the statement, before you even think about driving traffic to your offer, be that your free offer, your one-time offer, your paid for offer, whatever. This is otherwise known as the big mistake that people make. You need to think about what you're going to do with the traffic when you get it. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of driving traffic to a free offer, capturing the email address, perhaps trying a one-time offer to make a sale early on in the process. The traffic then goes to a list and it gets sadly neglected. So in effect, they've wasted their time. They've got prospects and buyers on their list, but thereafter they do nothing with them. So it's extremely important before you start even to think about driving traffic, don't make the big mistake. Work out exactly what you're going to do with that traffic, work out your follow-up email sequence, work out your plan, know what you're going to do with the traffic before you even think of driving it, because otherwise, quite frankly, you are wasting a lot of time and you're leaving a lot on the table at the end of the day. We'll look very briefly at a couple of traffic sources. The purpose of this particular video is not to go into these in any kind of detail, but just to give us a flavor of the kind of traffic sources that are out there. The first one we'll talk about is solo ads and leading to ad swaps. Now, what is a solo ad? Well, as I explained before, basically a solo ad is you go to someone who has a list of prospects and customers, you send them an offer. In other words, the person you go to emails to the list on your behalf, to his list on your behalf, and you pay them a fee for doing this, usually a cost per click. So in other words, you might spend anywhere between $40 and $60, and in return, they will send 100 clicks to your offer, giving these people a chance to go to your squeeze page, sign up for your list and be made a one-time offer. Now, once you've built up a list of your own, the next logical extension of solo ads is to do ad swaps. Now, what an ad swap is you have a list of customers and prospects, someone else has a list of customers and prospects. You send to your list on their behalf, they send to their list on your behalf. There's an ad swap. And typically with an ad swap, there's no cost involved. You're simply reciprocating one for the other. So generally speaking, you would be looking for someone to do an ad swap with who would have the same kind of size of list as you yourself have. The next one we look at is CPC, which is cost per copy. This is typically something you would do in conjunction with Google, for example, where they will have certain keywords that arrive on their pages in the organic search engines, and you would pay a cost per click to have that traffic diverted to your offer. Now again, cost per click can be quite a minefield. You've got to know what you're doing with this stuff. You can very easily rack up quite a big bill with not very substantial results. And a cost per click, depending on the keywords that are being targeted, can go anything from a few cents up to in the order of tens of dollars. Some of these clicks can go for $10, $15, $17. So before you embark on CPC, you generally really need to know what you're doing before going down that route. Banner ads is another source of traffic. To use a banner ad, you would basically go to a website owner and say to him, look, for X amount per month, I'd like to place a banner on your site, and then obviously visitors to that site would click on the banner and come to your offer. The cost of banner ads obviously vary depending on the site in question, and you would need to test this to make sure that it is profitable for you. One that's very popular at the moment is Facebook ads. A lot of people are doing this just now, but of course you do need to know the ins and outs of Facebook ads. It's something I've done myself reasonably successfully, but it's not something that you can really get into overnight and have success with. It takes a lot of testing to get the equation right. In other words, what you're putting in, you're getting more out than you're putting in terms of cost and so on. So Facebook ads is a possibility and certainly one to consider. Another thing you would want to consider with Facebook ads is to ask yourself the question, what do people go onto Facebook for? Generally speaking, they're not going on there to buy something, they're going on there to socialize. And that's just something to bear in mind when you're considering the possibility of Facebook ads. Another one which I use myself quite successfully actually is the forum signature. In other words, you go to a forum like the Warrior Forum, for example, and in your signature block you put a link to your offer. Now what happens is when you go to the forum and you contribute to discussions in a sensible way, you don't want to spam these forums at all. You just want to go along and show value, put sensible comments, and try and help people if you possibly can. People will then reciprocate. They'll click on the link in your signature and be taken to your offer, giving you the chance to get them on your list and perhaps even convert to a sale. Now one thing I do want to mention is around list building. Two statements here. One is build a list, and why is it so important? So to take the first one first, build a list. You'd be surprised how many established marketers there are out there who've been in internet marketing for quite a few years, and they've literally not taken the trouble to build a list, to me is just absolutely crazy. A list is an asset, it's a long-term asset, it's something you can use to market to for a long time, even years to come. So the number one takeaway from this is you must build a list. It's extremely important. The next thing I wanted to briefly talk about is to know your numbers. So if we take, for example, the thing we talked about before, which was the solo ads. Now with a solo ad, you're paying a cost up front to get a click. It might, you get so many clicks, those clicks convert, a percentage of them at least will convert to people on your list. And so effectively it's costing you a certain number to get someone on your list. Now that number may be $1. So let's say, for example, it's costing you $1 to get a prospect on your list. Now, when you do a solo ad, it's quite possible, in fact, it's absolutely probable that you won't make your money back on the solo ad up front. And that's why it's so important to know your numbers, because what you do is you continue to market to these people over a period of time, building a relationship, and what you're actually looking at is the lifetime value of that customer to you. So in other words, you might even lose money at the start, but because of the relationship you build with your list over time, you might return for that $1 you spent to get that prospect on your list, you might return $10, $15, even $20 plus. So what you are looking at is the lifetime value of your customers, And from that point of view, it's extremely important to know your numbers. If you know your numbers and you go and buy a solo ad and it costs you $1 to get someone on your list, and you know for a fact that for everyone you get on your list you can make $10 back, then the numbers make sense. Extremely important to know your numbers. Now, a question I'm often asked is when to sell to your list. You know, do you build a relationship, then sell? Do you sell up front? When do you sell to your list? Now, to understand this, we need to perhaps just understand a little bit of the anatomy of a list. And what I mean by that is a list is made up of different types of people. You get the people who want to be sold to right at the start. So as soon as they've seen your Squarespace page, you make them a one-time offer to capitalize on that kind of traffic. On the other hand, there's the kind of people on your list who might only buy from you when you've built trust with them. So in other words, you know, that can be 15, 30, 45 days down the road. You might have sent them a number of emails before they actually buy from you. So to understand when to sell, you need to understand to a certain extent the anatomy of a list. And the answer to when to sell is to sell at the start, sell in the middle, and sell at the end. You sell to the list all the time. Now, provided if you're delivering value and you're demonstrating reliability and credibility as you're building a relationship with your list and you're empathizing with the list, you know, the one thing to bear in mind with a list is that these are real people. It's not just a list of numbers. These are real people like you and me. And if you can build that relationship, if you can empathize with the list, if you can deliver value, if you can demonstrate reliability and credibility, in other words, for example, you may send them an email every Tuesday and Thursday, demonstrating reliability. But the whole point with a list is to be consistent. Be consistent, build a relationship, build the opportunity to market with them for weeks, months, and years to come. And overall, in all of these things, use your common sense. It starts at the beginning. Test what you're doing. Look, you probably actually, when you get into list building and traffic, is pick out three at the maximum, I would say, methods for driving traffic. So at the starting point, you need to use your common sense. You need to see what works for you. Start small and build as you go along. Don't throw all your money in at the start. Do testing, test the things, see what's converting. Try and get to a point where you've worked out the lifetime value of a customer to you and carry on from there. So as I say in all things, just use your common sense. So just to summarize, what did we look at in this video? Well, we looked at getting eyeballs on our offer, which is traffic, and we looked at the concept of the fact that not all traffic is equal. There's really no such thing as free traffic. You can get traffic through means where you're not paying up front, but really the time and effort you need to put into it to get results from that kind of traffic, you're paying heavily with your time. We looked at the fact that, you know, getting buyers on your list is key. I mean, even if you can get someone to spend $1 with you, it's the difference between a buyer and perhaps a freebie seeker. We looked at how to look at how your list converts and the fact that you do need to build a list in the first place, and even the concept of the fact you might lose money up front with your list, but through the fact that you're building a relationship and a long-term relationship with the list, and you're looking at the lifetime value of your prospect and buyer, you can make that money back. And we looked into the back end of what you do with your list once it's established, and the fact that you do want to build this relationship and earn the respect of your list to allow you to market to them for weeks and months to come. Okay guys, that's it for now. This is Les Blythe signing off, and talk to you again soon. Bye bye for now.